Hey, this week for the whiteboard session, I wanted to continue on the conversation that we were having last week when we started to talk about how to put the schedule on the recovery when it comes to the soft tissue work that I do when I'm working with some of the lifters who are here. And the conversation began with the idea that you have to be able to look at the subjective recoverability of the individual after the massage before they go into their primary lifts. So getting an idea of how long it takes the individual that I'm working with to get back to feeling normal, and then hopefully going past that point, and then scheduling it so that they're reaping the benefits of that soft tissue work on the day for that particular lift that they need it most, but also making sure that we're scheduling it in a way where it's not interfering with the other lifts and workouts that they're going to be doing. So I realized that there were multiple parts that I could go into this, so I wanted to do that. So I am. The first part that you look at are the number of days of recovery. And the two parts that you look at are when is their next training, and then their next day of that specific thing. So if I work with someone on Friday, they could have 3 days of recovery if we're looking at their next training, because Sunday could be squat day for them, but also when is their next day of blank. So if they're coming to me to help out with their back and hamstrings because of a particularly heavy deadlift period in their training, then their next day of deadlifts is going to be 5 days away. Their next day of training is 3 days away. I need to make sure that I know how long it takes them to recover from what I'm about to do for both the day for the next training that they're going into, which would be 2 days away, but also the next day of deadlifts, which is what we're focusing on. So the areas of the body that I can work on have to be done in a way that take those two parts into account. The next things that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of weeks, we're going to look at the styles and variations of massage, because we have to make sure that we're picking things that fall into that particular schedule. We have to look at their training state, because at different phases in someone's training, you're going to have very different modes on different systems, and that has to be taken into account. That's very important. That's one of the key tenets of sports massage. The next part is the program schedule, which is this aspect right here, but taking the program schedule also looks at when do they start going into peak if they're getting ready for competition, when are they moving into the preparation phase, so they're going to have much heavier lifts at lower reps. That's going to change what kind of training state that they're going to be in, so those two work hand in hand with one another quite a bit. And that last part is making sure that we're achieving the purpose with all these aspects being accounted for. What you'll see when we're done is that you can take this grid system, overlay all the different parts, and you'll have one particular style of massage and level of intensity that works for that particular athlete, because you figured out their training schedule, or their recoverability schedule, that takes into account their training state, the program schedule, and allows you to achieve to the best of your ability the purpose that you are going for as a practitioner without negating all these other aspects, in fact using them almost to your benefit. But in order to be able to use them to your benefit, you have to have all 5 parts that overlap one another. And you're going to start to see how we can do that in these next couple of weeks.